Hello again, congratulations, you got through the theory and now it's time to jump into the actual sky replacement. So as I told you, we're going to be looking first of all at the Adobe Photoshop, where I'm going to be showing you two different techniques. So in this video, the first technique is where we're going to be using actually blending modes. So blending modes works great when it comes to sky replacements on photos like you can see on this example here. We're talking about one single color and more on the brighter side. So right here and right here, these are examples where it's gonna go super well for us. So if I just switch on this layer right here, I can show you what we're gonna be creating. And then equally here, one example or the second example. Now, we're gonna jump back to the first example. We're gonna actually delete this and start from the beginning. So we have a picture ready here. What we need to do, we're gonna apply the new sky. So we're gonna go into our library and we're gonna be looking for a blue hour sky. And here on the blue hour, we're gonna actually use this sky right here. So we just wanna drag and drop it on the actual photo. So that already happened. And what we wanna do with the sky, we wanna inlight it with the horizon. So as you can see here, that's where the horizon is. So we just want to bring it somewhere about here. Once we're happy with it, we just hit enter and the sky is going to be placed there. Now I could click on the blending mode here and click on multiply and you can see the magic is already starting to happen. Now, but that's not all we want to do. We want to actually take this sky right here and drop it on this plus sign here. So we duplicate it. And then from here, we're going to go into the edit and free transform. Once we have that, we right click on the actual picture and we click on flip vertically. So that way we have a sky nicely vertically flipped and we just move it right under the first sky. So it's nicely in line. As you can see, the lines are in line and it's all set and ready. So we just click on enter and set it up. Now what we want to do, we're going to actually merge the skies together. So we have a first copy and second copy and then right click on them and we click on merge layers. So we get one big sky. Now we want to turn that back in the blending mode again into the multiply. And it looks a little bit weird, right? But don't worry about it. We're going to fix that as well. So what we want to do now, we're going to actually switch off this layer of the sky and we want to pick this selection tool right here. And we actually want to paint around these buildings right here. So nicely, really, it doesn't have to be detailed at all. Just go around, paint around the buildings, select them. And then all the way down here, all the way down, and then back to the beginning. So we have a really rough selections of the buildings. So now what we can do is we can switch back on the sky and then go into the filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. And inside of the Gaussian blur, we want to set up the radius to somewhere about 250, 200. So we click OK on that, and I just click on select and deselect. You can see that half of the magic is already done. You can see that the sky is in the sky and the buildings are just really nicely lit. And it actually did a little bit of the color grading. So this technique worked really well on this photo. If we want to do a little bit more editing, what we want to do is again, click on the sky and add a little mask here. And then we can click B on a brush and use just a nice soft brush with the opacity about 10. And then we want to paint with the black, increase a little bit the size. And we want to paint on the actual building where we want to remove a little bit of the warmth. So something like this, where we're just not sure about the amount of the warmth. And again, maybe here. And all the way at the back. And we can do also a little bit of the river, just to make it bright up, and it creates a really nice leading line. And that's pretty much the picture ready. Really super easy, just few moments, few minutes to turn the picture from here to here. Real magic, great. So we're gonna do one more example by using the blending modes, and that's the sky right here. So if I just delete those two skies, and we're gonna start by the same. We're gonna pick the sky. So as you can see, we are kind of in the middle of a snow. It's probably late afternoon or early morning. It's kind of darker side. We want to create and add something a little bit dramatic. So in our library, we're going to go into the dramatic skies. And if you haven't checked the organization training, the second module, make sure you check it out to find out how you can actually create your library and how you can get your skies into it. So for our case, let's use this one. We're going to again drop it on the actual photo. And as you can see, we're gonna inlight it with the horizon, and it's not big enough, so we can just make it bigger, do something like this and hit enter, and then just move it up a little. That's great. And same thing, we're gonna just duplicate it and then edit and pre-transform, and then right click on a photo and click on vertical flip. And then we're gonna bring the image right under the other, so to inline them together. Again, hit enter, and then we wanna merge them together. So right click and merge layers, and we have them ready. So now we click on the blending mode and we're going to multiply. And as you can see, again, it's starting to work really well. Maybe just move it slightly right here. It's looking great. And now same thing, we're gonna switch off or hide this actual layer, and we go back to the background, and we're gonna click on the lasso tool, and we will nicely select the actual buildings together with the horizon. It really doesn't have to be that detailed or perfect at all. You just want a rough selection, something like this. It'll be great. Yep, brilliant. And then down and down and back to the beginning. Perfect. So we have our selection. We want to go back to the sky. We want to actually bring it back. And then we're going into filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And let's see, 250 is working great. So if I click OK, and then again, select and deselect. And here is your result. Again, looking brilliant. Same thing, what we can do, we can actually bring the opacity down a little, maybe something like 90. Yep. And again, we can create a little mask, and we can use our brush, soft brush, and on the white, we're painting with the black. So just make it a little bigger. Make sure the opacity is around 10, and we're just gonna slightly paint on the actual building to take off a little bit of the contrast we created, but it really works very well. And it's looking brilliant. And one more thing you can do, you can actually click on the sky here and then go inside of the effects here and use a color lookup, which will open right here. And then inside of the LUT, you can click on something like a crisp winter. And it's a little bit strong, but we can again decrease the opacity to something like this. And what the lookup actually does is it takes both of the pictures. So we have our sky and we have our picture of the actual town, and it creates a layer over it. And sometimes it helps to blend everything together again. Now from here, you could simply take the picture, go into camera raw, do more editing there, nice vignette, nice contrasts and more, and the picture will be super and ready to go.